How's it going, everybody? It's Janet Hinageshi! So you probably know by now about the Japanese Yuyu Hakusho music CDs, where all the original voice actors from the show sang in character, but the songs weren't really all that popular outside of Japan. I've decided to make a long-form video about every lyrical song from the albums, and this week's song is Tasogare Nisei wo Mukete, sung by Hiei. Season 4 spoilers ahead. The original version is on 6 albums: the Passionate Singing Edition Karaoke Battle Royale, the Memorial CD Box, Collective Rare Tracks, the Complete Collection of Anime Theme Songs and Character Songs Mukete Bond Definitive Edition, the 25th Anniversary Single Record Box, and the 30th Anniversary Single Record Box. There are only 2 alternate versions. One is just the instrumental version for karaoke, which is also on the first Passionate Singing album I mentioned, with the original being on the first disc and the instrumental being on the second disc, and the other alternate version is part of a symphonic medley on the first Symphonic Collection CD. There's dialogue about the song on the previous track on the second disc, which is the karaoke version of Kokoro wo Tsunaida, where Botan introduces the following song, Tasogare Nisei wo Mukete, noting that this album is the first time the public hears Hiei's singing voice with this song, describing his voice as a beautiful hidden gem. The only other lyrical album before this one was the first Music Battle CD, where Hiei performed his song Daisan no Me, where he didn't really sing, so this is the first song where the fans heard him sing an entire song. Hiei says that there's no way to understand what he's thinking, but if you want to know how he feels, to sing the song for yourself, referencing the listeners, I assume. But he goes on to say that it won't do you any good. The dialogue on the track after the song Tasogare Nisei wo Mukete is Botan and Kurama talking about the upcoming song Kurayami ni Akaibara Romantic Soldier. Kurama says that he's not an expert in singing, which is ironic given his voice actor, so he doesn't have any advice on how to sing it, other than to think of the important person you want to protect even if you have to fight and sing about them. The song is called Tasogare Nisei wo Mukete, which means turn your back to the twilight. Here's the original kanji title. Tasogare, which means twilight, comes from an old Japanese phrase meaning, "Who is that?" It would be asked when it was still too dark to see properly, and the phrase would be called out, asking people to identify themselves. That's pretty interesting, considering in Hiei's song, Daisan no Me, you often hear someone whispering, "Who's there?" Now, omagatoki, which is another word for twilight, refers to the time of day when the veil between human and spiritual realms becomes thin enough for yokai to cross through, symbolizing chaos and the need for vigilance. Now, I forgot to add the source of that snippet of information. I think it's from Google, but if anyone who actually knows Japanese can confirm or deny any of that, feel free to say so in the comments. And for those asking what a yokai is, yokai are what Hiei and the other demons in the show technically are, which are supernatural creatures of Japanese folklore. They're simply just referred to as demons in the English translations. Hiyama Nobuyuki sings the song as Hiei just as he voiced him in the anime. Neko Oikawa is the lyricist who also wrote the lyrics for Yusuke's and Keiko's duet song Kokoro wo Tsunaide and the group song Mienai Mirai E. The composer is Chiho Kiyooka, who didn't work on any other Yu Yu Hakusho songs, but did compose many songs from other anime such as the Dragon Ball franchise. And then we have Kenji Yamamoto as the song's arranger, whose name you should be familiar with by now. He arranged 8 of these other songs. And he composed and arranged these songs. One of them is Makuro's song I previously covered, which is Rebirth Saisei, and another is Hiei's Daisan no Me, which I talked about in the Music Battle CD video. There's only one Yu Yu Hakusho song that Kenji Yamamoto composed but didn't arrange, which is Kurama's song Kori no Naifu wo Daita, another song I previously analyzed. The alternate versions aren't really all that notable, so I'm just going to talk about the original version. It's not really a fast song. I'd say it has a slow to moderate pace. Or at least that's what I thought until I found out that it has 126 beats per minute. The song is in G minor, and it starts with a few seconds of what I'm pretty sure are taiko drums, and then immediately bursts into a sitar melody that descends into a brief shepherd's tone until it gets interrupted by a piano. It has a synth with reverb hovering in the background, and it gets a nice drum beat. Most of this will be repeated in the chorus later. The vocals are buttery smooth in this song. Hiei's voice is gentle and soothing and somehow manages to convey both gentleness and strength at the same time. Overall, the song sways back and forth between feeling laid-back acceptance and then bursting with excitement and pride. When I first listened to these songs as a preteen, I would often imagine myself in my own music videos with the characters. This song always made me think of outer space, and I would imagine Hiei playing piano for me on the moon or something. And then at the end, with the quick piano sound, there'd be a shooting star in the sky. It was really sweet and romantic. And I was 12, so give me a break. So OVA stands for Original Video Animation. As I've explained in previous videos, it's a term used in anime that refers to media that was released directly to home video on VHS or DVD, for example. Think of those old Disney sequels like Return of Jafar. But OVAs can also be things other than movies like short stories or songs. Yu Yu Hakusho has quite a few OVAs out there, and some of the songs from the CDs were featured in OVAs. This song was used twice in OVAs. One used a shortened version of the original song set to clips of Hiei fighting Zero in Kuro Momotaro, which was featured in Eizou Hakusho 1, Dark Tournament Volume 1, Segment 4. And the other one was the instrumental version set to clips of Kuwabara fighting Elder Toguro and Hiei fighting Bui, which was featured in Eizou Hakusho 1, Dark Tournament Volume 2, Segment 2. So Hiei starts the song singing about how he walks along a crowded city street yet feels as though he's walking alone. So right off the bat, we have this theme of loneliness and feeling distant from other people. Now that sentiment should sound a little familiar to the fans of the English dub, because it resembles the opening lines to the theme song that has lyrics about running in a crowd in a faceless town and wanting to feel the touch of a friend. I've heard people argue that the theme song applies the most to Hiei, but I'll save that for another video. Anyway, I'm sure we can all agree that Hiei is a solitary character. Even when he's among friends, he's usually kind of off to the side, or sitting in a window away from everybody else. Sometimes he definitely does it on purpose, while other times it's almost as if people just don't quite want to be near him. Like there's this barrier between him and everyone else. And if you're like me and of a certain neurotype, that's pretty relatable. So whether he likes it or not, he lives a lonely way, a phrase often repeated throughout the song. When you look at the lyrical themes of songs of the other characters like Yusuke and Kuwabara, you'll notice a large amount of them are all about how they're empowered by friendship, whereas for Hiei's songs, they're often about the absence of such connections. He even says in a later verse that when his frozen heart is unexpectedly shaken by someone's kindness, he closes his eyes and rejects it, saying that the warmth just isn't for him. Now, most of the song is about how he insists on taking this lonely path, even when his heart is tested and full of sorrow and grief. His mantra is to never give up, another phrase heard throughout the song. And even though his stance seems so firm on his solitary behavior, there's a subtle hint of wistfulness as though he really does long for connection deep down. And I feel like that goes for Hiei as a character too. There's a stanza that mentions a memory he has of a precious smile from long ago that's fading, so he edges it into his heart. Now that's extremely cryptic, but I wonder if he's referring to someone in particular, like his mother or Yukina, or if it's just a vague feeling he can't quite place. So then we come back to the title, which is also a phrase heard throughout the song. I talked about it a little earlier, but what exactly does it mean to turn your back to the twilight? Well, twilight in a more literal sense discussed earlier could mean the unknown you can't see. But what about the unknown Hiei is avoiding? Well, in the chorus, he says, "Never give up, while holding nothing but my dreams, let fate guide me. Never give up, turn your back to the twilight, walk toward the future to nowhere in particular, lonely way." So putting all that together, it sounds like Hiei is telling himself to make a deliberate decision to actively avoid connecting with others because it's unknown and foreign to him, and he needs to remain solitary. While he sounds like he takes pride in all this, I can't help but feel like it's because that deep down, he's scared. But why? Well, if you know his past, he's never had a consistent two-way connection even with his own family. Hiei was exiled from his own kind as a baby, thrown off of a cliff and left to perish. In the manga, his mother didn't make it through childbirth, and in the anime, she took her life due to the grief of Hiei's forced exile before he could return to find her. Even the bandits who find him and raise him abandoned him after a few short years. And after he tracked down Yukina, whenever he has the chance to tell her that they're siblings, he never does. It is heavily implied that she figured it out, especially in the OVA where Hiei tells Yukina that her brother is deceased, and she tells him to keep her brother's jewel. Then Genkai tells Hiei that Yukina isn't the naive girl he thinks she is, but they don't really spend a lot of time together regardless. Hiei has never had a close relationship with anyone in his life. Sure, there's Kurama, who he highly respects and has partnered with on more than one occasion, and Kurama seems to know the most about Hiei, especially in the manga, but they don't connect with each other on the level Yusuke and Kuwabara do, or any two characters in the show that consider each other close friends. And then there's Makuro. There's certainly a connection there at the end, but the series ends just as that relationship begins, so we don't really see how that plays out over time. Some of you might be asking, wouldn't the fact that Hiei never deeply connected to anyone make him want to try and connect to people even more? Well, it's not just out of fear. Distance is what he's used to. It's what he's comfortable with. You know how fish will jump out of a fish tank sometimes? Well, I remember hearing a long time ago that if you keep a lid on the fish tank for a long time, the fish will get so used to the lid being on that it won't even try to jump out after you take the lid off. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like this applies to Hiei in his case. He got so used to people being distant from him for so long that even when he had opportunities to connect with others, he still had it in his head that it's just not going to happen and that it's not worth to even try, no matter how badly he used to want it. With this in mind, sometimes I interpret the tone of the lyrics as Hiei being content with his solitary fate, even proud of his independence and resilience. Other times, it comes off as sad and longing, especially since he keeps all of it to himself. But the music itself strikes me as upbeat, hopeful, comforting, and full of warmth. Maybe it's to comfort Hiei or the listener who might be able to relate. Or maybe it's to reflect that deep down, Hiei is still searching for someone out there to connect with. So what do you think of my analysis? Do you agree? Did I get something wrong? Did I leave something out? Do you have a different interpretation? A different translation? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't heard the song yet, go listen to it and come back and tell me what you think. Also let me know which song you want me to do next. You've got over 50 to choose from, and you can always refer back to my 16 shorts for a refresher. And be sure to follow me for my weekly Sunday video releases to learn more about lesser-known Yu Yu Hakusho content and trivia, such as songs from the Japanese CDs. Don't forget to share the love.